Welcome to our world. Won't you come on in? Waiting just for you. Welcome to our world.
Okay. At the behest of you,
You
we are creating... Wait, I have a message.
are an old man and a fool. Okay.
All right. At the
So-
behest of you, we are creating this, what's the word? Ad hoc almost.
impromptu.
Improv podcast. Impromptu. That was the word I was looking
Every
for.
podcast
There's
is
only
improv.
one.
What do you mean?
If we were creating two, it would be impromptu.
So it's just an impromptu one.
Yes,
You're right.
impromptu one podcast.
I hate myself.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the thing. All right.
Yes.
Obviously, this is
Telephone.
recent. Squirrel.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I can do it too. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So recently,
Mhm.
I won't say when because I don't know when this is airing. Recently, President Biden announced that he was pardoning his son Hunter.
Uh-huh.
I very briefly would like to talk about that specifically and say that I personally am very annoyed by this, not because of the situation with Hunter itself, but for the fact that when Biden was running for president and there were concerns about this, he assured people, he assured the American public, you and me and everyone else included,
Mhm.
that he would not be pardoning his son and that he would accept whatever happened
Yeah.
and move on, and that would be it, and the justice system works.
Yep.
That's what he said.
Yeah, he was
And I
asked
wake up
very,
this
very
morning
directly. Yeah. I heard this last
to
night.
this, and I'm like, again, it's not the specific situation itself that bothers me. I don't know. I'm very annoyed.
Well, you know, here's the thing.
This is why we have trust issues
I
as
know.
American people.
Well, people, I think a lot of people are already over this, but anyone that thinks that any political person probably, but the president is like Mother Teresa, forget it.
Absolutely
And it
not.
doesn't, right? And it doesn't matter. And the thing, I think there are still a lot of people on one side or the other that think that.
Yeah.
Your guy's evil. Your guy's the devil. My guy is an angel.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's ridiculous. I mean, in this case, it was you're right. It was a very specific question. There was no ambiguity.
Nope.
It was, will you pardon your son? And he said no. And now he's doing it. I heard it last night. I didn't listen to the context or when it was announced. I didn't hear anything about it. I'd love to listen to, actually, I'm going to watch the news conference today, the press secretary,
Mm-hmm.
because I just honestly can't wait to hear how this is framed.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, what are you going to do? I mean,
I want to make it clear because I heard this and then I had I don't remember how, somehow also seen a thing that was just talking about presidential pardons in general. And I was like, I really don't know a lot about this topic. So I thought it would be kind of an interesting and timely thing to learn more about anyway. I want to make it clear that obviously, as we know, pardoning family members or people, friends, extended family, that's something that presidents do and have done in the past. So I'm not angry in particular about this situation, like for that reason. I'm angry because, like you just said, he was asked a very specific question. Are you going to do this? He gave a very specific answer, which was no.
Right.
As you said, there was no ambiguity, nothing.
Right.
And so I'm just very annoyed that it's like, okay, so we cannot trust anyone.
Right.
No one can be trusted.
Right.
And then brings me to why is this even a thing? Why are presidential pardons even a thing?
That's a great question. And when
Let's talk about it.
Well, yeah, because when we were just starting this, when I literally was hitting the record button, that's kind of what I was thinking about. I was thinking about, okay, what is the reason they exist?
Right.
And is there a valid reason? And I was thinking, I had a lot of thoughts go through my head in about 3 seconds,
Mhm.
right? I was thinking, well, you could say that the president is elected by the people, more or less, or the people's representatives, the people, the electorates, right?
Mhm.
And you could say, so people elect the president. If the people decide that the president's worthy of being elected, they know he can pardon whoever he wants. So
Mhm.
that's okay.
Mhm.
The thing, the thing is now though, so Trump gets in.
Mhm.
He pardons, let's say, all the people from January 6th.
Mhm.
Let's say he even pardons people that are on video breaking the glass and all.
Mhm.
Now that would really bother me, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can't be like, well, it's okay for my guy, but it's not okay
Right.
for your guy, you know?
Because the assumption there is, well, my guy did it for the right reasons.
Right.
And my guy did it, or my woman eventually did it because that never should have happened in the first place. Hunter Biden never should have been put through all
Right.
of that. And the January 6 people should not have been put through that, or they
Right.
should not have to deal with that. And it's like, it doesn't,
That's wrong,
that
though.
logic is not.
That's wrong. That's what I'm saying. I mean, the thing is, don't get me wrong. If there are people, say, from January 6th that didn't, I don't want to say didn't do anything wrong. If they weren't violent, if they weren't breaking windows, if they weren't doing stuff like that, okay, I would buy that. The Hunter Biden, but I think if somebody did literally, like I said, the people that you saw breaking windows and
Yeah.
things like that, or say stealing stuff, yes, they should definitely be held responsible for that.
Yeah.
With Hunter Biden, like, it's the same thing. Like, it's not like, I mean, he did stuff that if anyone else did it, nobody's pardoning them,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
That's, I think, the frustrating thing, because that's where you get in this thing where, okay, there's a different set of rules for you.
Exactly.
Because, and you could look at it, in this case, it's the president, right? But you could look at it with a big company. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, my dad owns a company,
Yep.
so I can get away with whatever I want. I can, let's say I work there as an intern. I can show up late.
Mhm.
I can not show up one day. I can come in drunk. Doesn't matter.
And
right?
I think the thing is, because that's a really good analogy. I think the thing is, we're, as a country, we're kind of used to that kind of behavior, maybe in companies and stuff. You don't like that it happens,
Right.
but you kind of accept that it happens. But idealistically, you would hope that that kind of behavior does not reach the highest position in the
Yep.
land,
Yep.
like literally the highest form of, I don't know what word I'm looking for here,
Yeah.
but like you would hope, and I know it's idealistic, I'm
Mhm.
whatever, but like you would hope that there would be some kind of I don't even know what word I'm trying to use here, but you know what I
idealistically, right?
mean.
Yeah, idealistically,
That it wouldn't reach that
okay,
far.
you're the president. You have this ability to do this. But you
Yes.
would hope that you take this almost like as a sacred
So
thing,
seriously,
right?
yes.
That
Yes.
you would only use it in a case where, I don't know, there were extenuating circumstances. You really believed that someone was innocent who
Mhm.
was for some reason found guilty.
Mhm.
Like, there would have to be just, it can't be, what's my kid?
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
I mean,
Or like Trump did for who? His
multiple
son-in-law. I'm saying people connected to him was like his son-in-law's father or something like that. Didn't he pardon?
No, I don't think he. Oh, yeah, I think you're right, because he didn't he name him to something?
I don't. But again, the
yeah.
point is, this is not
Kushner.
on one side of the political spectrum or the
No,
other. I'm not
no.
saying that at all. I'm literally saying that I'm just frustrated about this in particular because Biden was asked repeatedly if he would do this, and he said no.
Well,
that's why I'm angry about this.
So
right
this
now.
goes back to another thing, right? And you could look at it this way. You could say, well, lies that presidents make, or like, for instance,
We don't
if you
have
go
enough
back to
podcast episodes.
I know.
available for that.
It would be like, that would be boring. It would be like having a podcast about, there's oxygen in the atmosphere
Exactly.
today, right?
Yeah.
But no, like
So sad.
like when who was the president before Obama? Oh my God, Bush. When his father was president, right? And he said, "Read my lips, no new taxes."
No,
Okay.
and taxes.
I mean, it's same thing. You couldn't have made it any more clear.
Mhm.
Okay. What did he do? He got in, and then he did what some people like. He worked bipartisan, right, with the
So-
other party, and they wound up, and I don't remember the details around it, but they did have a tax increase. And
A
so,
lie.
so he lied, right?
So-
So he lied. And it's like, why do you,
Well, because they say what they have to say in order to get elected. That's the whole point. And so that's what because you just saying that made me think, do you think if Biden would have stayed in and if he won re-election, do you think he would still be pardoning Hunter? Or is he just doing it now because he's leaving office and it's like, I have to do it so
That's a
that
good question.
he can't. I know it is.
But what?
I only ask the good questions here, okay?
But I guess I look at it this way. Why would I believe that he wouldn't pardon him?
Yeah.
It's like, what would be the downside
Yeah.
at that point? He can't run again, right? It would be his second term.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like
You
the
might
same
as well.
situation now. He has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You know, he has the power to do it. He has nothing to lose.
Anyway, okay.
So do you have more details on?
So, yeah. Well, do you have anything else to say about this
No.
in particular?
No.
Okay.
The only thing I have to say about it is I really want to see the news conference
Yeah.
at 1:00 or whatever. And I want to hear the announcement. Like, do you know, did he make the announcement? Was it just like a written announcement that came out? Like,
I'm not sure. In the thing that I read, it didn't say how he announced it or whatever.
Yeah. And this is why so many people are completely turned off.
Yeah.
Completely turned off by stuff.
And I'm also interested I'm very interested to see like the media that I listen to, the news outlets that I listen to on like a daily basis, again, on all sides of the political spectrum, how they react to this, because I just know that Democrats are going to be defending this and like it's his son and a father's love for his son and he had to do this because Trump was gonna, and all this stuff. And I just they're not going to be I didn't say anyone specifically. They're not going to be talking about how Joe Biden lied.
Yep.
They're not going to be talking about that at all.
Yep.
I guarantee you. And then on the other side, I guarantee you, I mean, they're definitely, I feel more like the other side right now just because of the lying itself in general.
Yeah.
But I also feel like anyway, this is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
I'm going to get annoyed listening.
I'll tell you
to
what though,
if you
were on the side of Joe Biden and him pardoning Hunter, then I think you could make that argument. You could say, well, I'm doing it because I don't trust this next administration. I don't trust Donald Trump, and I think they're going to target him and go after him unfairly, and that's why I'm doing it. And I'm not saying I agree with that, but I guarantee you what you just said is right.
Yeah.
People that are staunchly on the other side, that's how they're in their mind. That's how they're going to justify it. And it would have happened and will happen in the future on the opposite side.
It will.
So
yeah.
it's
And it
it's
has.
just frustrating.
And we're going to get into that in a second. My only point with that is, and again, there's good logic there that Trump would go after him and all that stuff. So I'm not saying Joe Biden's logic is incorrect. What I'm saying, again, that I hate about all of this is the blatant 100% lie that we were told. Yeah. That's all. I don't like being lied to. I don't think anybody does. And so, especially by the highest power in the country.
Is there in the statement or whatever where he pardons him, is there an apology for lying? Right? Is there like, I'm sorry to do this, but this is the reason I'm doing it?
Maybe I should find that really quickly.
No,
people. I'm sure people will have heard of this enough. Okay, but so again, this got me all curious about presidential pardons in general. And again, why do we have them? It's a great question you ask. Okay, and where did they start? Did they start from the beginning of the country? Where these were all questions that I had.
Okay,
right?
good, and you got answers. That's why I love this. I want to hear this because I'm curious.
Well, the origin is not as exciting as maybe you had imagined. The power to grant a pardon or a reprieve is granted to the president by a specific part of the Constitution. The only limits mentioned in the Constitution are that pardons are limited to federal offenses and that they cannot affect an impeachment process. The president shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offenses against the United States except in cases of impeachment. That's directly from the Constitution.
Okay.
Do you have a comment? It looks like
the only thing is, so it's only federal cases. So a president cannot pardon anyone for a state offense.
I'm just reading what it says. Federal offenses.
Well, no, the reason I bring that up is because I think still there's the one case that's pending or whatever against Trump. The New York one where he was.
Oh, yeah.
And where he was, I guess, found guilty. So the question, he can't pardon himself because that was a whole nother question, right? Is whether a president can pardon himself.
I don't know.
But he definitely can't pardon anyone for a state offense.
Thing.
So
it does appear
this
that
whole
way
thing
based
is
on
interesting.
the reading. Okay. Though pardons have been challenged in the courts, because why was this even written in here if we're...
Was it in the original Constitution or an amendment?
No, it was Article 2, Section 2, Clause 1 of the Constitution.
Uh-huh.
And so if I'm using, maybe it says, I haven't read this whole thing. I'm kind of thinking they wrote that in there because at the time, we have to remember, they're pretty much all committing treason.
Everybody was an outlaw.
Against
yeah.
it. Yeah. And so they had to have something that was like, that's my only logic.
But
they had
why
to have
did
something
they-
that could protect them.
But why did they
for-
give that power to the president versus the Senate, for instance, and say that there'd have to be a vote of at least
I don't know.
60 senators?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a good question, and it doesn't specify here. So though pardons have been challenged in the courts and the power to grant them challenged by Congress, the courts have consistently declined to put limits on the president's discretion. The president can issue a full pardon, reversing a criminal conviction along with its legal effects as if it never happened. A pardon can be issued from the time an offense is committed and can even be issued after the full sentence has been served. Which, like, what is the point there except for just
to take
not,
it off the record.
I know, but like that's
Expunge it.
The president can issue a reprieve, commuting a criminal sentence, lessening its severity, its duration, or both, while leaving a record of the conviction in place. Additionally, the president can make a pardon conditional or vacate a conviction while leaving parts of the sentence in place, like the payment of fines or restitution. Pardons, originally granted by presidents until Grover Cleveland's first term, 1885 to 1889, were actually handwritten by the president, which is interesting. After that, pardons were prepared for the president by administrative staff, requiring only that the president sign it. That is the information,
Okay.
the background information that I have. Let me
Okay.
see. Oh, where are we? Oh, see, this is where, after I heard about all this and I like did a very brief thing, because what I have here is a list of presidential pardons for every president, which we're obviously not going to read every single one.
No, I'm
But a
curious
few
about
I've
some of
looked
them.
at to see
Like the
how
Nixon
interesting
one
they
was
are.
obviously a big one.
Just a few for reference, a
Mhm.
few, because there's no limit to the number of pardons that a president can do during their
That's
time.
crazy.
It's crazy. And you're going to see how crazy this is in a second. George Washington,
Mhm.
16 pardons total. Okay. 16.
That seems reasonable,
I think-
especially
yes.
based on the time and what just happened.
Exactly. Okay. 16 seems reasonable based on the time. One sweep, I'm just going to go as we get higher and higher. I'm going to read the higher and higher ones. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm skipping presidents here to get
Higher and
like,
higher as in more recent or higher as in the number of pardons
the
issued?
numbers is going
Okay,
up, but
okay.
we're working our way recently up, obviously. James Monroe, 419. The details are lower, so maybe we'll dive into some of these. William Henry Harrison, 0. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
Whatever. Andrew Johnson, 654.
No, I was thinking about Harrison with 0. He didn't get assassinated, did he?
He was, oh wait.
I was thinking if somebody got assassinated, because a lot of times they do it right
No.
before they're leaving
Wait,
office.
was he the one that died though?
Or died in office.
And then he might have been. So then maybe he just didn't get to because he died before.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. I should know more about American history. Ulysses S. Grant, 1,332.
Man.
So many. And again, time period for that. I mean, I don't.
This is frustrating as you're saying these numbers because and granted, okay, I'm making assumptions, but when you have a number like that, some of them are probably legit. Some of them are probably
Yeah.
fair. But I feel like some of them are, I'm so-and-so's friend, so
Well, yeah,
because I'm buddy up with this guy now,
For sure.
I'm okay. I can do whatever I want.
which is super not okay.
Yes, it's infuriating.
Woodrow Wilson, 2,480. And I think
Hmm.
it's also important to note because in many of these cases, it's not like it was 2,480 individual people.
Mhm.
It was also, there are a lot of groups in this that are involved, like groups of.
So that's even more in people.
No. I'm saying in the 2,480, like in this number,
Yeah.
it's not one
Oh,
person,
oh.
two,
Yeah,
three.
yeah, yeah.
It's
There could be,
a
like-
group of 500 people for
Right,
this event.
right.
Like
Like if
the
Trump-
January 6th thing.
Yeah, like
if
he
you did
might
that.
say, all of the people except for these people, I'm going to
Exactly.
pardon.
Exactly. So these numbers, and without diving into every single one and knowing specifically what they were pardoning people for,
Mhm.
you assume there are groups in here, obviously,
Right.
but these are still high numbers. FDR, 3,687 people. So unbelievably high. We're definitely going to look at his. Obviously, he was in office the longest. So, the numbers being that high,
Still, like,
that's so many, right? Okay. Oh, you're going to love this one, actually. Not this one. Hold on a second. George W. Bush was 200. Barack
Wow,
Obama.
that seems low in comparison.
It does seem low in comparison. Well, let's go back. I'll go to the most recent ones. So you have Ronald Reagan, 406.
Okay.
Actually, let me go back up to Jimmy Carter really quickly. Right before that, you have Jimmy Carter, 566. But right next to it, it says excludes over 200,000 pardoned for Vietnam draft evasion.
Oh, 200,000.
200,000.
You've got to be kidding me.
Okay, which I just noticed this number, so that's insane.
See, that one bothers me.
Yeah.
And it's not about, oh, should we have been in Vietnam? Anybody after the fact can say, oh, that was a bad war. We should have never done that and all that. And it was executed poorly and everything.
Yeah.
But you can't just say, that's like me saying, okay, everybody on whatever street, whatever highway that got a speeding ticket in the last year, I'm going to take it away because we think the speed limit should have been 10 miles an hour higher on that road. So It's okay that you broke the law. It's like, no, that's not okay.
So I'm imagining, without looking at the rest of these numbers, that is most likely the highest. I can't imagine there being a higher one than that. And that was just in the notes. So Ronald Reagan, 406. George H.W. Bush, 77.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry because I thought of something else.
What?
Okay. This is how much that bothers me, that 200,000 number. How about the people that were drafted and didn't evade the draft and died or lost arms or legs or whatever?
Yep.
What are they? I guess they're chumps. I guess they're just like losers and we don't care about them.
Yeah.
They literally, either lost their lives or lost their ability to do whatever. And, thinking afterward, I didn't even have to go. And nothing would have happened. Like that
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's insane. All right.
Moving on.
Like I said, George H.W. Bush, 77. That's the lowest. Oh, James A. Garfield also had 0. So since Garfield, that's the lowest, was George H.W. Bush's 77. Bill Clinton, 459. George W. Bush, 200. Barack Obama, 1,927.
I thought he had more than, I thought I had heard he did pardon over 3,000 people.
Donald Trump, 237.
I mean, that's pretty low.
I was going to say, which is low relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't have to argue this point specifically. As of the writing of this article, Joe Biden was only at 26, but that excludes 6,500 pardoned for simple possession of marijuana.
There you go. Same thing. Same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's like.
Okay, so that's obviously most recently. I know.
Why don't we pardon everybody for cocaine possession?
For everything, yeah.
Because I think it should. Oh, the lawnmower's going.
Okay, great. I don't understand the logic here either, if I'm being completely honest. Okay, so let's back up then to George Washington. Again, I'm only going to do a couple specifics here. George Washington pardoned, commuted, or rescinded the convictions of 16 people. Among them are Philip Weigall and John Mitchell, who were convicted of treason for their roles in the Whiskey Rebellion. So this is about what we imagined most of his things would be with treason, and because a lot of illegal stuff obviously was happening at the time for a good reason, for the betterment of this country. Who else did I say had a lot?
Who had the 3,000?
FDR, that was FDR. Someone else in the middle did, didn't they? James Monroe had a lot. Democratic Republican President James Monroe pardoned, commuted, or rescinded the convictions of 419 people. Among them are numerous individuals convicted of piracy. So that's interesting. I wonder if that actually, was that for a good reason or a bad reason?
Is there a good reason for being a pirate?
Well, I'm saying, again, it's a timely thing, though. So was it just because it was around I don't know.
Maybe these people lost an eye and then put a patch over the eye, and then they just sort of became a pirate because of that.
Maybe.
So he felt bad for them.
William Henry Harrison and James A. Garfield, the only two that have issued no pardons. It was because Harrison died shortly after taking office. I don't remember if he was actually assassinated or not, and I'm embarrassed that I don't know this, but that's fine. Abraham Lincoln, I was very interested in his.
This one's going to be interesting.
Abraham Lincoln pardoned, commuted, or rescinded the convictions of 343 people, which is actually insane to me when you consider
how low it is.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What he went through during his presidency, you would imagine that his number would be the highest.
Yeah.
Would you not?
You would imagine it would be very high.
Or, yeah, one of the highest.
Because you would
given
think,
the
well,
circumstances.
because in this is a case where I'm trying to think of a way to say this so it doesn't sound bad, but it's the North against the South, more or less. You're
Yes.
picking sides,
Yeah.
right? So if you're in the South and you wind up fighting for the South and you wind up basically not being treasonous against, say, your state, then maybe you could be convicted of a crime, which would be kind of,
Yeah.
So I guess to me, those would be, I mean, we'd have to know the details of them, but they could seem like they'd be possibly justifiable, right?
Yep.
Or it could be the other way around. Someone that would have been convicted of a crime for smuggling slaves or something,
Yes. Well, yeah, that was pretty much my thinking. You're sinking.
I am.
Okay, anyway. So, for example, among Lincoln's are 265 out of 303 Dakota Indians who attacked white settlers in the Great Uprising of 1862. So he did not even pardon all of the Indians for some reason. I don't know what, I would love to know the story there.
I mean,
Clement Vallandigham, all right. Copperhead congressman from Ohio sentenced for disloyalty in 1863, sentence commuted and deported to the Confederacy. That's interesting. There's a story there.
Yeah.
This is a good example. Emily Todd Helm, wife of Confederate General Benjamin Hardin Helm and half-sister of Mary Todd Lincoln. So again, it's a full familial thing. They all do it.
Yep.
This is not me saying that is it okay? No. But I'm saying they all do it. So it's not like Biden with Hunter.
Yeah, but then don't lie about it.
I know. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Make up something that sounds good so you could have a way out.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just.
We're back up to Garfield. So Harrison, I'm assuming, died of natural causes. This is what the title of this episode should be. Was William Henry Harrison assassinated?
Yeah. How did he die?
But Garfield he didn't pardon anybody because he only served a few months before being assassinated.
Okay.
So I imagine that Harrison just died of natural causes, and
So we could pretty much bet that any president would pardon some number of people.
At least, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I think to myself, here's the thing that gets me, and it's not an issue because I won't ever be the president, but right now, I can't think of a single person I would pardon.
He would pardon me.
But you haven't done anything wrong. That's
but
the
if
point.
I did,
I don't hang with that crowd.
Is it subjective that I did anything wrong? Who's to say? Okay. Anyway.
I would probably do the opposite. I would convict people without a trial. Can the president do that?
We got to hurry this up.
Can the president do that?
Do what?
Just convict people without a trial.
No.
That'd be kind of cool.
No, that's completely bypassing the
I
legal
would
system.
do that.
Although I guess a pardon is also completely bypassing
there are so many
the legal
people.
system.
Death penalty for not using your turn signal.
FDR, we'll get there. FDR, 3,687 pardons. None of these are really that interesting to me. George R. Dale, newspaper editor, convicted of violating prohibition laws in 1932.
Yeah, but
pardoned in 1933 after the repeal of prohibition.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That is so... That just... I don't... Because I am a law-abiding citizen and I don't every day get up and think, well, I don't like this law, so I'm just going to do whatever I want.
Yes.
Okay? You could see the anger in my face.
I can.
Okay?
And it's hilarious.
And the visceral anger.
It is.
And then you wonder why we have crime.
Yes. Anyway, Roy Olmsted, a bootlegger convicted for violating the National Prohibition Act. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, anyway, so again, we're not reading a ton of these.
If I was at the press conference, where they were announcing these, I would keep raising my hand and say, before you were talking about the marijuana one, I'd be like, wait, it was illegal though, right? Yeah, so why are you doing this?
Yeah.
It's not complicated. It is not complicated. Not. First of all, these people are not on death row.
No.
And here's the thing, even if I was the president and I was pardoning someone, quote unquote, pardoning someone, I wouldn't automatically completely remove it from their record. Maybe I would say, I think there are too many questions about this, so I don't think this person should be executed. I don't think it's right to execute them. So
We-
I don't know.
We got to
Anyway,
move ahead here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm
We
reading
have to
through
look.
these.
Actually, we should have an episode on just interesting details about all the presidents.
Gosh,
Anyway, now that
I
you think
know
about
we
it,
should have an episode for each president.
yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just skipping ahead because
Yep.
George W. Bush, John Forte, a hip hop singer and songwriter, sentenced for smuggling cocaine in 2000 for whatever. Okay, I just
See?
want to make it clear that this is not a political thing. Barack Obama, Dwight J. Loving, a U.S. Army private sentenced to death in Texas for murdering 2 taxi drivers in 1988. I don't know the story there. See, this is frustrating
So
because I
that's
don't have
one
time to get
probably-
into all these stories.
Well, it's one probably where the guy was on death row for years and years. And wait, who did that pardon?
Obama.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. 1988. So the guy was on death row for what, 30 years, 20 years? Yeah, 20 years or something like that. Which, first of all, I don't care if this guy murdered 2 people. It just bothered that.
Willie McCovey, this is also Obama, professional baseball player, pleaded guilty to tax evasion in 1995 and received 2 years probation and a $5,000 fine. Pardoned on January 17th, 2017.
Yeah.
I don't.
What
see,
was the?
I don't know. And we don't have the time to go over all this right now. Donald
You didn't
Trump.
even mention the Gerald Ford.
No, because I have to
Pardon.
skip over all this stuff.
I'm saying he pardoned
Nixon. Yes.
That to me is one of the biggest ones.
Trump, Shalom Rubashkin, sentenced to 27 years in prison for bank fraud. There are obviously stories here that we don't know. Why is it showing like all of Trump's pardons and it only showed me like 2 of everyone else's?
Yeah.
What?
Maybe because they're more recent.
He pardoned Kodak Black. I didn't know this. An American rapper who confessed to lying on background checks associated with purchasing firearms during 2 separate instances. That's actually really funny considering the circumstances. Joe Biden, Abraham Bolden, an American former Secret Service agent and the first African-American Secret Service agent assigned to the Presidential Protective Division. He was charged and convicted of bribery. Why did we pardon him?
I'd love to hear. Well, that's what I would love to know the answer to that question. Why?
Vincent
Why?
Ray Flores for consuming drugs while serving in the military in 2006. Why are we pardoning? I'm so confused.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Okay.
like-
Anyway. This is updated. Biden pardoned his son, Hunter Biden, who was convicted of illegally buying and possessing a gun, has also pleaded guilty to 9 tax-related charges. Joe Biden had repeatedly promised that he would not pardon his son, but pardoned him anyway, citing that he had felt that Hunter Biden had been selectively and unfairly prosecuted in an effort instigated by his political opponents. Which makes it okay, I guess.
It was under his administration.
Bro, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't like if Trump was president at the time and then Hunter Biden was prosecuted.
Well, yeah,
and
but I
all-
guess it's
so
just
how-
saying the Republicans like in Congress and all that I don't know. Anyway, the whole because
So he's not
we need to wrap
denying
this
that
up.
any of this happened. He's
Correct.
just denying that.
He's
okay,
saying,
well, then it's okay.
you guys are being mean and you're
Well,
picking
then-
on me.
Well, then it's okay. Then it's okay.
Yeah, so we just got to wrap this up. And there's no good way to wrap this up because I don't feel any better. I still don't understand why we have pardons.
Well, like I said, when we get, and I'm anxious to finish this because I do want to see
To finish what?
the news
It's over.
conference. I want to see the news conference.
It's
I want to see how
finished.
this is.
This is over.
But I also want to follow up on some of these other things now because
I know.
I don't have time for this.
I know.
I have to get Christmas lights up. All right.
Hold on. I'm going to look up why do we have presidential. That's not how you spell that.
Mm-hmm.
Presidential pardons. I just feel like I didn't
Yeah.
get a good
Explanation.
I'm looking at these right now. None of these are giving me
It's telling you the background, but not why.
The only reason, like I said, that I can think is because of the time period. They were like, there's a lot of illegal stuff that's going to be happening
Right.
for the future of this country, and we need to have something that says that that's okay.
But you would think it's in the Constitution. You would think they would have some kind of documentation, writings that say this is why we did this. This is what
I just haven't done enough research.
the argument
maybe,
back and forth. Yeah,
maybe there is one. I don't
Yeah.
know. One of our listeners, please let us know why.
there are going to be no funny outtakes with this.
I know. We're just gonna stop it here.
Angry. It's just angry.
Who would I pardon? I wouldn't pardon anyone.
No, I that's what I'm saying. I would actually increase the sentences of everyone.
Okay.
To make
Hope
up
you
for the people that
guys
were pardoned.
Have a great week. We'll see you on Friday. With an infected person or animal. We can't do this episode. I have to stop here. The exchange of body fluids with an infected person or animal is the proven cause of the disease. What?
What was the title of this
I am
list?
scrolling back up. Even science can't explain these 8 weird diseases. Man, this is just ruined. This whole episode is just ruined now.